Hello everyone, welcome to your weekly tech update, the show that explores the newest, coolest, and craziest side of tech available on the interwebs. I'm your chief engineer, Ray McNeil. Coming up on the program today, Porsche releases its first teaser images of their all-new, all-electric Taycan. The official Spanish soccer league app Spies on over 10 million users. And happening in this week's What The? Airport parking customers come home from holiday to find their cars left in a field covered in mud. All that and a whole lot more coming up on your weekly tech update next. For decades, prestigious scientists have been searching for a way to see through walls. And in the past few years, they've actually succeeded. They created technology that uses Wi-Fi to sense people through walls, only the signal it returns is really scant. Now, researchers at MIT have developed a new machine learning algorithm that not only detects people's movements, it also models what they are actually doing. Fortunately for people who value the modest privacy walls provide, the new technology just recreates a bare-bones stick figure that matches the person's pose and movements. When we say something can see through walls, we don't actually mean like vision per se. The artificial intelligence-powered system, dubbed RF Pose, bounces Wi-Fi signals through the walls and off of people on the other side. And then it analyzes the patterns that come back from that reflection. From these blobs of reflected signals, the technology is able to reconstruct a 2D stick figure. It's like how a bat sees by echolocation, except the image rendered in its head is a childish drawing. The stick figure, of course, doesn't have a face, so if the system has never seen you before, it won't know who you are. But after 100 participants trained the system, it could correctly identify which researchers were which 83% of the time, strictly based on their style of movement. The scientists behind this technology hope that it will improve care for people with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, and for the elderly in assisted living facilities. If people agree to let technology like this new wall-penetrating scanner monitor them, well, it could help scientists better understand how certain neurological conditions affect posture and gait over time. If the technology continues to improve, it could even be used to detect a person's tremors at a distance to help doctors monitor how well a certain treatment is working. RF Pose also stands to improve video game technology and police safety. Officers could tell whether someone on the other side of a wall is holding a weapon rather than merely knowing that someone is there. But the researchers told Motherboard that they hope to focus their efforts on medical applications alone. And in a refreshing twist on the usual news, we hear about potentially creepy surveillance technology. This is kind of cool. The researchers behind RF Pose have already taken steps to protect those who might be monitored. They've worked to anonymize and encrypt all the data. They've also designed it so that people who would be monitored by it would be able to turn the device off with a particular motion. Some may even prefer to have RF Pose keep an eye on them over an assisted living worker. And some people with more advanced neurodegenerative diseases may not be able to fully understand the implications of the technology. It is pretty nice to see that engineers are thinking about the people who might be abused by their inventions, and to see that scientific research can progress with those protections in place. Tesla back in the news this week. Their major software update version 9.0 is now set for release sometime in August. And it will include the first full self-driving features for Autopilot 2.0 vehicles. That's coming from CEO Elon Musk. Version 8.0 came out in 2016. It was Tesla's most significant over-the-air software update at the time. It featured an user interface refresh, a few new features, and several improvements related to Autopilot. Almost 2 years later, It looks like version 9.0 is also going to bring a similar important update to Tesla's software. Musk announced on Twitter that the version 9.0 is coming in August and that it would even include the first full self-driving features. It doesn't necessarily mean that Tesla's vehicles will be able to drive autonomously, but Tesla will start releasing features under the full self-driving capability package available for Autopilot 2.0 cars. Now, recently, Musk said that Tesla should be releasing the enhanced Autopilot's on-ramp, off-ramp feature in the next couple of months as well. Enhanced Autopilot is a $5,000 package available for Autopilot 2.0 customers, and Tesla also offers an additional $3,000 package called Full Self-Driving Capability. While the option is currently available to purchase, Tesla notes that the self-driving functionality is dependent upon extensive software validation and regulatory approval, which may vary wildly by jurisdiction. In the meantime, Tesla's Autopilot will start to differentiate between the enhanced Autopilot and full self-driving capability packages when the version 9.0 software update is released in August. Tesla already started releasing some significant improvements to Autopilot 2.0 this year, starting with a full rewrite of the system's neural net released last March, and another important update that was pushed to the fleet just last week. A new system devised by MIT engineers could provide a low-cost source of drinking water for parched cities around the world while cutting power plant operating costs. About 39% of all the fresh water withdrawn from rivers, lakes, and reservoirs in the U.S. is earmarked for the cooling needs of electric power plants that use fossil fuels or nuclear power. And much of that water ends up floating away in clouds of vapor. But the new MIT system could potentially save a substantial fraction of that lost water and could even become a significant source of clean, safe drinking water for coastal cities where seawater is used to cool local power plants. The principle behind the new concept is deceptively simple. When air that's rich in fog is zapped with a beam of electrically charged particles known as ions, water droplets become electrically charged and thus can be drawn towards a mesh of wires, similar to a window screen placed in the path. The droplets then collect on that mesh, drain down into a collection pan, and can be reused in the power plant or sent to the city's water supply. Now, the system is the basis for a startup company called Infinite Cooling. The project began as part of a doctoral thesis which aimed to improve the efficiency of fog harvesting systems that are used in many water-scarce coastal regions as a source of potable water. A typical 600-watt power plant could capture 150 million gallons of water a year, representing a value of millions of dollars. This represents about 20 to 30% of the water lost from cooling towers. With further refinements, the system may even be able to capture more. What's more, since power plants are already in place along many arid coastlines, and many of them are cooled with seawater, this provides a very simple way to desalinate water at a tiny fraction of the cost of building a standalone desalination plant. In a series of dramatic proof-of-concept experiments, a thick plume of fog droplets is seen rising from the device and almost instantly disappears as soon as the system is switched on. The team is currently building a full-scale test version of their system to be placed on the cooling towers at MIT's Central Utility Plant. The setup is expected to be in place by the end of the summer and will undergo testing in the fall. The tests will include trying different variations of the mesh and its supporting structure. It should provide the needed evidence to enable power plant operators who tend to be conservative in their technology choices to adopt the system. The campus power plant tests will not only de-risk the technology, but will also help the MIT campus improve its own water footprint.